Hi, Dale Wilson here for Man on the Street. And actually, I'm not on the street. I'm here in the middle of a lovely lavender field in sunny downtown Sequim, Washington. I don't know what it is about lavender, but it brings people from around the world. There'll be 40 to 50,000 people converge on Sequim today and this weekend to take in the ambiance, the fragrance, the healing qualities of lavender. And we're going to try to learn a little bit more about what it is that brings these people from around the world to enjoy the lavender here in Sequim, Washington. Our guest today is Marco Hermosillo. He is the owner, proprietor with his wife of the, tell us about your place here, the exact name and all of that.
Yeah, we're Olympic Lavender Company. We're a 21-year-old USDA certified organic lavender and herb farm. You're here today at our main site here on 1526 Marine Drive out near Dungeness Bay in the Klein Spit. We grow different lavender and lavandins and other herbs over 4 different locations out here in Dungeness. And we're USDA certified organic. We have a retail store here at the farm and a retail store in downtown Sequim, and we make modern products for men, women, and children with our organic culinary herbs and spices, and also with our certified organic essential oils and hydrosols.
Terrific. Now take us from the point where you put a seed or a planting in the ground. I think you propagate it from another plant. Tell us how that goes to just from start to where it winds up on somebody's bathroom counter.
Absolutely. So there's a couple different ways to do things. You can grow some lavender plants from seeds. Seeds are a little bit inconsistent, so you can have 2 of the same type of plants and actually get something a little bit different. What we do here is we do propagation. We actually take cuttings from different varieties, as you can see out here in the fields, and we do clone. And so we cut a clone, we root it, we get it to grow in our greenhouse and nursery, and then we bring it out for sale, or we bring out here to our plants. And so we have very specific varieties of what we do here for our commercial production, and also for some beauty here as well for our visitors. But we like to focus on varieties that are not too commonly grown in large quantities in the U.S. compared to other farms. So you come to our farm, you're going to see a lot more varieties from overseas, from New Zealand, from Australia, from France, Bulgaria. You're not going to see necessarily the typical fare you would see at most farms in the U.S.
And so how does it get from the plant to the bathroom counter?
Well, the bathroom counter, ideally, unless you have the plant itself there on the bathroom counter to help add some beauty, you probably have it somehow in bath and body, maybe in a body oil, maybe an essential oil and a soap. So what we do is we take the plants here, as you can see over all these fields right here, and we have different equipment. We have equipment for essential oil and hydrosol distillation. We use copper and stainless steel equipment in order to bring out the essence, the bodies of the plants.
It's just like a whiskey still.
Almost. There's no reflux and there's no thumper, but I'm sure you can get a pretty poor quality whiskey, but you get a very high quality lavender or lavender oil or hydrosol or rosemary or helichrysum or peppermint. And what we do is we then use our commercial kitchen and use our own products, our own stuff to make the bath and body products. At that point, we have our own packaging, our own shop. We're truly a model of vertical integration. We grow the plants, we distill the essential oils, we have machines in the building here and out here that you can clean with and sort. We then process everything, and then we package it ourselves, and we sell in our 2 different locations and online around the country.
Terrific. Now, is there a website that people could contact you?
Yeah, absolutely. It's OlympicLavenderCompany.com, and that's where they can buy all of our products, bath and body, culinary, food, essential oils, online 24/7. Or when they visit Sequim, they can visit our downtown boutique right there in the main center of town at 120 West Washington Street, or they can come here to our farm at 1526 Marine Drive.
Terrific. Now, let me ask you this. Lavender is not necessarily indigenous to the U.S., is it?
It is not. It's indigenous to the Mediterranean. This plant that we have here and the plants that you see in Sequim are Mediterranean plants. They prefer well-drained soils. They like to have maybe some rock or sand in there. They prefer a higher pH. They really like limestone. They want a lot of heat and sun. As you can see here in Sequim, we have plenty of that today.
Yes.
And the Sequim Dungeness Valley is a former ocean bed. There's a lot of fossilized kelp, calcium in here. And with all the dairy farms that used to be here, there's a lot of phosphates and nitrates in the soils too. You can literally pull across the dirt, put a plant in it, it will grow. But here it's just a combination of the sand, the soils, the heat, the humidity is just like in many regions over the Mediterranean.
Now you seem to have a particular penchant for lavender farming. How did the lavender bug bite you?
You know, it was by accident. I think it happens to most men and women. I grew up in this town, came back here. My wife came back here for a wedding with my wife back in 2007 and fell in love with this town and how much it had grown from when I had known it younger years. This was the first farm my wife and my mother visited at the time with previous owners. And within the next week, my father and I found ourselves in another state getting calls about, hey, what's your social security number? we're going to put some payments down on some land. We're moving to Sequim. We're going to be lavender farmers. So we started doing private propagation and plants and stuff like that. And it wasn't until 2013 that we actually bought this farm. That was the first farm our family visited, just down the road from our 3 other locations. And we have spent time here doing this. So at some point in time, we had decided to make a choice to live here as a family, to take up a profession in a dying industry, as many might know, and to try to raise a family in a family business like it used to be back in the day.
Marcos, you've been a wonderful ambassador, and we really appreciate your time. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, I'm Dale Wilson with Peninsula Area Public Access, and you are?
Taylor Breckenridge.
Taylor, what is your part here today?
I'm a volunteer helping out wherever I need.
Terrific. And what are these? You're the sign out there says "Name a Baby Lavender." Tell us about that.
So basically, there's new plants with lavender, obviously, and we're getting little heart tags, and we're having people come in for free, and they're going to write either their name or their granddaughters or whatever they want, whatever name they want to name the plant. And we're keeping a list of all the names and what number it is and where they're from. So then afterwards, once it's planted and grown, we're making a big sign and keeping all the tags together so we can see all the different people that came around and what they named their plants.
Well, give us an idea of where some of the people are from that have already named a plant.
We have some from the UK, from Vancouver, a lot of Washington's, obviously Seattle, Sequim, Port Townsend. We got Tri-Cities, Florida. We have a lot of different ones. Victoria.
So somebody came diagonally from across the USA to come here and name a lavender plant.
Yes.
Do you find that fascinating as I do?
I honestly do. It's surprising to me how many different kinds of people come around the world just to come to these lavender farms.
And how long have you been involved with this lavender farm?
This is my first year.
Great. And what made you decide to come out and do this?
Actually, I have some friends that involved me in it because they've been doing this for a couple years now.
Terrific. Did you name one?
I have.
And what did you name it?
Old Gordy.
Old Gordy?
Yeah.
From the pizza place?
No, there's actually an old lady here that we met who is 102. So I got that number, and I made sure I got that number for the plant, and I named it after her.
Good for you.
Yeah.
And we appreciate your taking some time with Peninsula Area Public Access today.
No problem.
And here we are again, Peninsula Area Public Access, Man on the Street. This time it is Woman on the Street, and we have with us Captain Crystal. Captain, tell us what you're doing out here at the Lavender Festival.
We are here with the Dreamcatcher balloon, and we are giving wings to special needs. That's what our program is all about. So it's part of our fundraising. But what we're doing behind me is having a bounce balloon. It's kind of like a sock hop. Take off your shoes, you go inside. You're in this big giant snow globe, so it's absolutely beautiful with colors. And we have 2 volleyballs inside as well to play a couple games.
Terrific. And so is it normal for people to be able to walk around inside of a hot air balloon?
No, this is totally unique for someone to actually be inside and on top of the fabric. Not a lot of pilots will allow you to do that. This is an aircraft that's already retired, and so we like to use this one for our play day, is what we like to call it. So at different events throughout the community, through the peninsula, and also we'll be going and taking the same kind of program to Tahali and Bonnie Lake and also to Colorado. So.
Now behind us here, we're looking at a double chair that looks like it might be the ejection seat from a jet fighter. Can you tell us a little about that?
That is my beauty.
Let's walk over and look at it.
Here, take a seat. There you go. All right, so this is a Dreamcatcher balloon. This is what we're raising funds for. And as you can see, the burner's above my head. You get strapped into a 5-point harness. The person whose mobility challenge is sitting next to me. We have seniors and veterans who are also allowed to fly, but this is like ballooning for everyone. So those who are not challenged can fly this, and then their money goes to charity, which would be us. So you go ahead and put the straps on, harness in, just like that. So someone you can see who is, maybe a quadriplegic or with cerebral palsy, they're locked in and they're not going to go anywhere, and then we can go for a flight. Most of this is used for tethered operations up to 25 feet, which is all they really need to do anyway, because then they get that feeling of freedom and coming off the ground. We gave, may I tell you a story?
Yes, please.
So we have someone who flew with us last week. She's one of my directors. Her name is Denise, and she has been a quadriplegic for 14 years. She was a student pilot just moments before she got into her accident, and now she's been sitting in a wheelchair. So she got her first dream flight, her chance to be in a hot air balloon. We transferred her from the wheelchair onto this aircraft. And remember, this is specially designed. It's the only one of its kind in the world, which is why we've traveled to the Philippines, and we're getting ready to travel to China and New Zealand and other places to give other people a chance to fly. So Denise is in this, and the pilot brain in her kicks on. We're up at 500 feet. I hit the burners above me, And just then she goes, oh! And she moves her arm a little bit. She said, I automatically wanted to reach up and grab the burners. So her brain kicked in as a pilot after all these years. It was phenomenal.
And so she was a quadriplegic, yet her muscle memory kicked in.
Her muscle memory kicked in. She moved her arm a little bit, and she could not believe that her brain just kept telling her, burn, burn, when it was time to hit the burners.
That sounds nothing short of a miracle.
Yeah, and it was amazing. We did take someone who has polio, celebrate her 70th birthday, and that was last week as well. And she looked at her wheelchair being wheeled down right after we landed. And she says, you see that wheelchair? She goes, I live in that. She pointed to the balloon. She goes, and you see this balloon? And she says, I got to fly in that. She said, this will be a memory I will hold with me forever. So for us, it's just nothing short of a miracle for us to be able to give these wings to people.
Thank you, Captain. And Dale Wilson again here from the Lavender Festival in sunny Sequim, and we're here with a very unique person. He brought his helicopter here for the Lavender Festival, and let's let him talk a little bit about his service to the Lavender Festival, his support for the Land Trust, and well, let's just let him talk.
Thank you very much. Yes,
your name again?
My name is Tony Riley. We're with Atomic Helicopter Tours out of Seattle, Washington. We come out to Sequim every year for this. We do about 5 events a year out here. What's nice about this particular event is we do donate a portion of our proceeds to the Land Trust, and then we also donate a helicopter ride that they auction off at their dinner that they do, which is nice. And as you can see, it's beautiful out here. So we have our Robinson 44. It's a 4-seat aircraft made entirely here in America in Southern California.
Now, you were telling me that they make everything from the prop to the screws and everything.
Yes, sir. Yep, they make everything in-house. It's all quality controlled. They go through every piece, and if it doesn't meet the standard, they check it out and they start over. The helicopter is also rebuilt every 12 years, which is nice. So just lots of redundancy and safety.
And so, did you fly this over from Seattle, I'm sure?
We did, yeah. We brought it over from Seattle. We're staying at the airport, the Sequim Airport here, and then we'll be here today and tomorrow.
How long did it take to get here from Seattle?
From Seattle, it's a 30-minute flight.
Is there any more beautiful flight?
No, there is not.
Talk a little bit about that.
Well, one of the things I love about coming out to the Sequim Valley is just how beautiful it is. What's nice is we fly up and down the coastline. We avoid the spit. You get to see the spit, but it is protected, along with Protection Island.
Right.
And then see the contrast between the mountains and the rivers, the coastline. You can see the islands. You can see Canada. All of that on just a quick 10-minute tour around the city is really spectacular.
And do you see whales?
You can sometimes. It's not guaranteed. If we do see them, we like to enjoy them from a distance, give them their space. But.
Great. And about what altitude do you fly when you're coming from Seattle?
So up from Seattle, we tend to fly between 1,000 and 1,500 feet. When we get over populated areas like this, we actually don't have a altitude restriction. We tend to fly higher just to decrease the noise and be a nicer neighbor.
Now, this Robinson behind us, is it considered a louder or a quieter helicopter?
It's actually fairly quiet compared to some of the other ones. And again, there's things that we can do in order to decrease that noise. Some of the power that we pull and then flying at a higher altitude is what we do in order to minimize that impact on the neighbors.
How many gallons or pounds per hour does it burn?
So this burns 15 gallons an hour. And we typically fly for about 3 hours.
Now that's kerosene or K1, isn't it?
It's 100 low lead.
Oh, is it 100 low lead gas? Okay, for some reason I thought the helicopters used kerosene.
Nope. Yep, 100 low lead, very similar to what you would find at the gas station, just higher octane, and then we buy it all here in Sequim locally. So.
Have you ever landed at a service station and got to fill up?
Not quite.
Would there be any rules against that?
There are some helicopters that can take that fuel, so as long as the city doesn't have anything against it, yeah, you could squeak in there.
Okay. And what kind of experience do people usually exhibit when their first helicopter ride?
I've had everything from tears when we pop up over the fields to a lot of laughter. No one's cried. I always tell everybody if they're not feeling it, we can turn around and come back, and no one's taken me up on that yet.
All right. Listen, we really appreciate your time, and thank you for coming out and sharing your lovely helicopter with the people here at the Sequim Lavender Festival.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Okay, this is Peninsula Area Public Access. We're talking to some very brave people that just got off of the helicopter. Tell us your names, please.
Chelsea, Micah, Allie.
Chelsea, tell us about your first ride. Was this your first ride on the helicopter?
My second, but yeah, it was awesome.
And what did you see?
We saw some lavender fields, saw the Walmart, we saw the lighthouse, and pretty much all of Sequim.
Terrific. And what did you think of your ride?
I thought it was great. It was so cool to see just the beautiful scenery of all of Sequim. So
Did you realize you were traveling about 120 miles an hour?
I did not know that, but now I do.
Was that your first helicopter ride?
It was, and it was great. He was an awesome pilot. So
Well worth the money.
oh yes, absolutely.
And what did you think of it?
I loved it. I was scared.
What were you scared of? Heights?
Heights,
So the speed didn't bother you, just the heights.
just the height. Yeah.
Is this your first helicopter ride?
Yes.
Would you do it again?
Yes.
And where are you from?
Bothell,
And yourself?
Seattle. Yeah. Bothell.
Okay, so all of you knew each other before you got here.
Yes. And now we're more bonded. Yes.
Well, great. Is any kind of a special occasion today, or just out here for the Lavender Festival?
Yes.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Wilson. Here, Man on the Street, and we're talking with.
Emily Westcott.
And Emily, tell us about your experience here at the Lavender Festival.
Well, I've been working with the Lavender Festival since it started. My main gig is I ride on the lavender buses and tell people funny stories all about Sequim. They seem to enjoy it, and I have a good time. I've been doing that for, like I say, about 20 years.
Well, I'm told that you are a personality here in Sequim. What's that all about?
Well, I'm pretty active in community service in Sequim. I'm the captain of the weed patrol. I keep the downtown Sequim looking pretty fine. Weed it and keep it and everything. Then I'm going to put in my plug because I'm a pilot, and we're having what we call it the Olympic Peninsula Air Affair. It's a Sequim fly-in and air show. It's the last week in August, last weekend, Friday and Saturday, 26 and 27 out at Sequim Valley Airport.
And do you have a website where people can find out more information?
Yes, it's the Olympic Peninsula Air Affair. .com. Air Affair has an E on the end of it.
And tell us about that hat you're wearing.
My hat, isn't that great?
It is a great hat.
I got it at a luncheon at the Chamber of Commerce. They had an auction, see who'd buy this hat for me that I could wear on the bus.
Well, tell us one of those funny stories you tell people on the bus.
Well, let me see. I always like to tell them about the elk story, you know, how they transported them down to Brennan one time, airlifted them down there, and that was the plan, was to move them down there. And of course it took the elk all winter long to walk back to Sequim, so they're back with us in Sequim.
Why do you suppose they wanted to exile them to Blinn?
Oh, I think they were coming across the highway and jumping on the golf course and eating the farmer's cabbage and thought they'd move them to somebody else's golf course, and of course the elk came right back.
And so the elk knew where they wanted to be.
They knew where they wanted to be. They'd been there years.
And how long have you lived in and around Sequim?
Well, I was raised in Tacoma, so I've been in this area all my life, but I've been in Sequim since 1979, and I moved up here because I got the job as a vice principal at Port Angeles High School.
Oh, terrific. I noticed you were eating some of the lavender ice cream. What do you think of that?
Oh, it's terrific. I like lavender ice cream. It's one of the reasons I came here.
Well, we really appreciate you spending some time with us. Are you still in education at all?
I substitute all the time at Sequim High School. I have an airplane. I'll always be substituting.
I can imagine. Well, tell us about your plane. What have you got?
I have a 172 Cessna. I fly it out of Sequim Valley. Smartest thing I ever learned to do, and I was 52 when I got my license.
So that was a couple of years ago?
That was a couple of years ago. That was a good guess. Thank you.
Do you train any pilots?
No, I'm not an instructor.
And that's a wrap for Man on the Street here from the Olympic Lavender Farm. I'm Dale Wilson. We're going to move on to another lavender extravaganza, and we'll be right back. And here we are again, Man on the Street, and we're here at the Jardin du Soleil, and I'm going to let him pronounce it better than I.
It's the Jardin du Soleil.
And your name is?
My name is Paul Schiefen.
And you are the proprietor here?
Yep.
And this apparatus behind us, I believe, is your distillery?
Yep. Yeah, this is where we distill lavender essential oil.
And tell us how that process takes.
Okay, so basically what we're doing is we're boiling water, converting it to steam, and then we run the steam into the bottom of this pot here that's full of about 100 pounds of lavender, and it extracts the oil as it rises up. It goes into this device here at the top where it cools back into a liquid, and in this device down here at the bottom, that liquid is separated, the oil is separated out of the water, and we bottle the oil and the water goes down the drain.
Okay, with 100 pounds of lavender, how much oil will you get out of this batch?
This batch, which runs about 2 hours, I'll get approximately, this variety grows, so I'll get approximately 20 to 25 ounces of oil.
So 100 pounds will equal to 25 ounces.
About, yeah, and it depends on the variety.
And what would be the retail value of an ounce of essential oil?
An ounce, I believe we sell for $49.95.
So that's a pretty good batch.
Yeah, not bad.
And how many pounds of lavender would you go through in a season?
Don't know how many pounds. It's a good question, but 90% of our farm, which is about 4.5 acres, will go into essential oil. We get it probably 20 to 25 gallons of oil throughout the season.
And is it just the flower, or is it the stem, the leaves, what all?
Just the flower has the oil in it.
So do you have to pick it and then just take the blooms or the flowers off?
Well, we don't. We can, and I don't know if you can see behind you over here, there's a pile where, and it goes in just like that, stem and flower. And the reason for that is when we put it in the pot, the stem makes a mesh, and so the steam can make its way up through the lavender. If we just did the flower, what would happen was it would shoot columns, and we'd be distilling just the flower.
Now, in the off season, could you make a mash whiskey out of here?
I wish.
All right.
It'd take some modification, but
tell us how long you've been in the lavender business.
We've been here since 2011.
And what got you into this?
Just sheer luck. I had sold a business in California in early 2011, and we traveled about 34 states looking for a place to move to. Visited the farm in July and fell in love with it. Found out that it was something we thought we wanted to do and could do it. 15 days later, we were lavender farmers, and it was in the middle of a harvesting season. So the day we moved in, we were unpacking boxes, and I was distilling out here.
Wow, so you learned the business that fast?
We had a day with the previous owner, and a lot of reading, a lot of internet research, a lot of talking to the other farmers in the valley. And they helped me out a lot, but we had to learn quick.
Well, one thing I've noticed is the community spirit that surrounds the lavender farmers. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, there's a group of people that help each other out. Especially when we moved here, there was a lot of people who were forthcoming and would share information on how to grow and what needs to be done. And there's a lot of great farmers out here.
And on a 1 to 10 scale, of 10 being expert, where are you now on the lavender farmer scale?
Oh gosh, I'm always learning, so maybe a 6, 7.
Well, great. Well, we certainly appreciate your time, and you have a beautiful farm here.
Thank you so much.
So, tell us where you're from.
I'm from Seattle, Washington. I live in Kirkland.
And your name is?
Sheila.
And is this your first visit to the Lavender Festival?
Third visit.
And you must like it. You keep coming back.
I love lavender, and I love the farms. It's amazing to be out of the city. No traffic.
And how long did it take you to get here?
Oh, about 3 hours, girls. 3 or 4 hours. We left at 7:15 a.m.
Terrific.
Yeah.
And what do you like best about lavender?
I love the color. I love the smell. It smells up the whole room, and it's very serenity. You feel at peace. You just, you're out of the city. It's great.
How many farms will you visit while you're up here?
Well, so far this is our first. We're gonna go to another one now because you get to go to 2 farms for $10, and then we're gonna go to the Arts and Craft, and we're gonna go, the big one, the purple, maybe too.
Terrific,
so
great.
Maybe 4. Maybe today and some tomorrow, maybe.
So you're staying in town tonight?
Yes, we're staying in a hotel.
Terrific, great.
Don't ask me where we're staying.
Okay. Well, so you know that there's supposed to be about 40 to 50,000 people on this to converge on Sequim this weekend.
And we're lucky we got up here early because I don't think everybody came. There was a big accident on the way. So yeah, we were bumper to bumper. So I think people will start coming now. And tomorrow, I'm going to go back tonight. Only because I have to be at work tomorrow, and I'm afraid I won't make it.
Oh, okay. So. Well, we certainly appreciate you spending a little time with us here for Peninsula Area Public Access. This will be available at papaonline.tv, and you can watch yourself on television next week.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you very much.
From here in sunny Sequim, Washington, for the Lavender Festival, Man on the Street, and now today, Man on the Farm, I'm your host, Dale Wilson, for Peninsula Area Public Access. Mom, I named a lavender plant after you. You're from Harlan County, Kentucky. Your number is 125. This one wasn't here. We love you. Sequim, Washington. For On the Road, I'm Dale Wilson. We're going to start that again. Wilson for On the Road for Peninsula Area Public Access. We're going to move on to another. Did I say it again?